So question, what are the signs and symptoms of a brain tumor, and how would someone know that they may potentially have one?
That is a great question. And as one neurosurgeon said to me, with the brain, it's all about location, location, location. So depending on the location of where a tumor might be in your brain, that is going to absolutely determine the kinds of things that someone would be facing, what signs and symptoms they might have to give an indication. A couple of the things that you could be aware of that you can be looking for. Anytime that you have changes to your vision, whether you start having double vision or you start having changes to your vision, that could be a potential sign. Dizzy spells could be a sign. Headaches or changes in headaches, whether that's the intensity or the frequency of headaches. For me, I was never a headache person before. I don't think I'd had more than a dozen headaches in my entire 30 years of life before we got diagnosed with a brain tumor. And then when I was diagnosed, I understood why I was having more and more headaches, because the tumor was pressing on my nerves and causing problems in my brain. Other things, if you are having seizures, seizures are a good indication. Nausea. There are many people who have issues with tumors and they find out because they are sick to their stomach. So that's something that you can look for. Fatigue, extreme fatigue is a big one, because when your body is undergoing changes, it can absolutely wipe you out and it can cause you to be more tired, especially if things aren't working the way that you're used to them being able to work. Another thing that you could look for is loss of the control of your movements. If all of a sudden you start to realize that you don't have control of your body the way that you're used to, that could be an indication. Another thing that you could look for is difficulties with your speech. If all of a sudden you have a hard time forming your words, if your words start to slur, if you start to forget some of your words. Now granted, we're all going to forget words over time, and the older we get, the harder it's going to be for our language center to stay as sharp as we once were. But if you're having difficulty with the actual formation of your words, slurring, creating those speech patterns, that can be an indication as well. Another thing that you can look for is changes to your personality. Now, you may not always be the one to see the changes to your personality. It might be the other people around you who are the ones noticing that you've had a change to your personality. That can absolutely be an indication that there is something going on in your brain, because depending on where a tumor could be located, it can impact all different areas of your life, including mood disorders and changes to your personality. So you have to be aware of that. A couple of the other things that you could look for: numbness or weakness in different parts of your body. If you start to feel like you don't have control, or that maybe your left side is going numb or is weaker than normal, that is an indication of something you can look for to indicate that you need to do a little more research. You maybe need to get yourself into a doctor's office to get checked out. And finally, the last one I'll tell you about is memory loss. If you are losing your memory, or if you can't remember things that you feel like you should be able to, those can also be indications that something is going on in your brain. So make sure to get it checked out. Those are a few of the signs and symptoms that you might be experiencing if you have an issue with the brain tumor. But here's another thing to remember. If you have any one or two or even three of these signs or symptoms, that does not mean you do have a brain tumor. It simply means you need to be proactive, you need to get yourself to the doctor, and you need to check it out. There are many causes and root issues for dizzy spells, headaches, ringing in the ears. Any number of these different signs and symptoms could be related to a variety of causes. So don't catastrophize and worry that you have a brain tumor, but certainly be proactive, take control of your health, advocate yourself, and get yourself to a doctor.